Coming up on the 4th episode of the Unscrewed Mind, Rusty and I are talking about lack and limitation. Now, we all set limits for ourselves on what we can do or accomplish. And sometimes we even let others do it for us, but it doesn't have to be that way. So we talk about that. And then we also talk about lack and how getting lost in the feeling of having what you want is better than focusing on the fact that it's not here yet. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. We're live. Rusty, I feel like we're just spending so much time together, and it's great because I feel like you know this information, you read it, you study it.
We love this information. We love
meditate on
this information.
But actually, having conversations with someone about it and like the back and forth and the revelations that come from it, man, just makes you feel good. That it makes you feel positive and bullish, that something good's right around the corner.
I mean, just to be clear, we just recorded the previous podcast and we just talked for 20 minutes in between recording the previous one and this one about something that I figured out about myself by recording the other podcast.
Yeah. It's you never stop learning. That's part of life. You just never stop learning. And so in the last podcast, I did what I always do, which is part of my paradigm, is I put a limit, right? I was talking about the amount of time it would take you to make a positive change in your life. And that's absolutely not true, right? Time is what you want it to be. If it's even a factor, and you have to be really careful what limitations you put on what you're attracting, because you may be inadvertently restricting how fast that stuff is making its way towards you. And so we thought that now would be a good time to talk about a couple things that are super important, and that's lack and limitation. And so, Rusty, where do you want to start on this subject? Because it could go a lot of different ways.
Well, I mean, lack and limitation is this kind of goes back to our previous conversation. It is part of your paradigm. And, so many people have a lack mentality. On a daily basis, they think that they can't have something, that they don't deserve to have something, and it can venture into your religion too. You have thought, I think that just from growing up in a Christian faith and going to church, I mean, I feel like that I was inundated with having a lot is something that is not good. And the good news is I went completely against that, but that's, but I that's something that I didn't like, is I was being told that I shouldn't want for something. I should be happy with lack. And I think that our society is kind of a strange deal, because we have all of these people that are successful that our society pedestals, whether it's somebody that's a celebrity or somebody that, a singer or, music, that kind of stuff. And everybody's like, oh, this person's great. This person's great. But when they come to think about themselves, they'll put in the lack and limitations. They'll say that, oh, I really shouldn't have that because somebody else doesn't have it, or I feel bad for that person or this person, so I don't want to feel, I don't want that person to feel bad because of something that I've got, kind of deal. And then it's a limitation on how much you think that you can do, or how much you think somebody else can do, or whatever. I mean, you're just putting that out there constantly. You're dissecting the way that things are from a limitation thought process or a lack process. And I think that it really holds a ton of people back. And I know that it was holding me back. But the scary part is I thought I was winning.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where it gets scary. Your limitation is big or small as you want it to be. If you want to make, and this has been something that I love to talk about, and this is something that Bob Proctor brings up. Tons of people that talk about the law of attraction and, reading about it. It's how much ever money that you make at this exact moment. If you think about it and you think about the job that you got, you probably had an exact dollar figure in your mind that you were going to be able to make at that job. And it is most likely very close or exactly what your thought was. And that is so true with me. It's not even funny. And
Mm-hmm.
Matt, is that the same way with you?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm making, like, when I set out on my professional career, however many years ago, there was a dollar amount, and there was like a residential, like the house I wanted, the backyard I wanted. Like, there were all these success indicators, and I've hit every single one of them right on the head. And the life I have now is the life I always told myself that I wanted. And so
but what's the key? What's the key to what you just said there? What you just said, that you have everything that you wanted, but what was it really what you wanted, or was it the limitation that you wanted?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I would say that I set myself up. I was like, here's where I would be. Here's where I would be happy. And I inadvertently put a cap on my happiness. And then, my paradigm has become comfortable with this amount of happiness. And even though there are things I know that would make me more happy, I got to figure out a way to adjust my paradigm, reset my limits so I can get where I want to go, or hopefully completely take the limit off and approach unlimited, which would be an awesome thing to do.
Yeah. And so this is where I think that we mentioned in our first podcast, write down what you want or how happy you are with your life, and then answer, what, is this really making you happy? And then ask the question again and see how the answer changes. Because so many people are living in the house that they want until they ask themselves again, and then they don't. Or they're in the job that they want until they ask themselves again. Because your paradigm, your lack and limitation thought process is going to tell you, this is fine, this is great, this is what you wanted, everything's good, comfort. And that's where you have to be able to point it out to yourself, because you're the only person that can really tell what those indicators are, unless you're telling somebody else that's aware of them. I mean, I think that my wife, we've had a lot of conversations around limitation, and she has grown up feeling like that she shouldn't have some of the things that she has, and that she shouldn't get more because there's so many people that don't have more. And it was something that was plaguing her on a daily basis. But there's no reason why anyone, and this goes for any person that's listening right now, no matter if you have the best job in the world or what you may think is the worst job in the world, you should not limit what you can do because of today. That is like, I just wish that every person could truly hear that, because somebody has probably told you that you can't do something, and it's because of their lack and limitation in their mind. And you don't have to live, not like you want to live because of what somebody has said to you. And I wish that so badly that everybody could hear that, because I think that is something that could change our world. I mean, do you feel that way, Matt? I mean, I've met so many people that are unhappy or doing something that they don't want to do on a daily basis, and they don't feel like they're good enough to do something else. Or, they could have a great personality, but they've been told that they're not smart. And this isn't an intelligence battle. This isn't any of that. This is about knowing yourself, trusting yourself, and doing what you think when you're in alignment with the universe.
Right. There truly are no limits on what you can accomplish or who you can become, or what you can do if you set your mind to it. What you have to overcome is the thought patterns that have got you to where you are right now. And we've talked about this. There's nothing's 100% wrong with where you're at right now, but if there's something you want to change, then you don't have to limit how easy or how fast that change can take place. All you have to do is set it in your mind and have faith that it's going to happen. And you'll be surprised how quickly the universe moves to align you with the goal that you set for yourself. And so, you just have to decide it's something that you want, and you can absolutely have it. But we've talked a lot on limitation here. I think the other thing that we have to talk about is that you have to focus on the opposite of your lack for whatever you're trying to accomplish. And I know I said that terribly. Ugh, that was terrible. But you have to understand. You have to live your life like you already have what you're striving for. And you have to remove from your mind all thoughts of your life without it, and only concentrate on your life with it. And that speeds up the process. So tell me, like, where are you at on the lack subject? Like, how do we solve that?
Well, I mean, basically take all thoughts of lack, start noticing thoughts of lack. Everything revolves around you hearing your thoughts from a third party or a third, somebody looking at your thoughts. Because the thing that really resonated with me after I was able to understand it, because for some reason you can't understand some of this stuff to begin with, it's probably a paradigm. But anyway, the thing is you are not your thoughts. You are not your body. That is not you. And when you're listening to your thoughts, and just to, for instance, on this, if you're driving down the road and a thought pops into your head that 3 days ago you were at the grocery store and someone made you mad by running into your cart or leaving a card out, whatever it is, whatever sets you off. Somebody cut you off while you were driving down the road, and you start thinking about that. The question is, one, you have a reaction to things, right? And two, where did that thought come from? Why would you bring the thought up from 3 days ago? Or something could even happen 3 years ago that upset you. Somebody did you wrong, whether it's a business deal, a spouse did something to you. But why are you having that thought? Because that's a limiting or a negative thought. So why even have the thought? And that's what you got to start shaping. And if you want abundance in your life, you can't think about the things that are not abundant.
Mm-hmm.
So thinking about debt brings more debt. Thinking about making more money brings more money. But you have to consciously be aware of your thoughts, because they're popping up and you're reacting to them, and you don't even know that you're doing either one of them until you're aware of it.
Right. And so if you start identifying those thoughts of lack and those statements in your head that highlight the fact that you don't have what you're dreaming about or what you truly want yet, I mean, you'll find that you spend a lot of time thinking about that, and knowing that your thoughts create your reality, you're attracting more of your life without. And so one thing that you can do, or one exercise that you can do, is to take 10 minutes out of your day, say 3-4 times a day, and just quiet your mind and let yourself kind of have what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, obviously, I'm talking about like a mindful meditation here, but take some time to, I guess, envision your life perfectly the way you want it. Say if you want that new car, imagine driving that new car to work in the morning, or imagine driving that new car home from work or to the gas station, and imagine in as much detail as you can. And instead of focusing on how you don't have that new car yet, give yourself that feeling of what it's going to be like when you have that new car, and do that as often as you need to throughout the day to replace the thoughts of lack with the thoughts of enjoyment and the feeling of enjoyment. And watch how that changes your attitude towards things. But then also too, you'll start seeing that car in more places. It'll start, like, your phone will start recommending, these dealerships, like all of these things will start to fall into line, and you'll feel yourself gravitate towards that thing that you want. And it's just kind of a powerful exercise that you can go through to make those things happen in your life.
Yeah, and that's a great point about the feeling. I mean, the feeling is a secret. You'll hear that a lot when you're looking into this information. But the feeling is a secret is not as complicated as you might think. A lot of people say, well, I don't know how to feel something that I don't have. So you need to start with something that you can feel, what it would feel like to not have. I mean, you're not going to feel dramatically different if you go get a sandwich from somewhere that you like. I mean, it's subtle changes in your overall feeling. And that's what you're really searching for. And you're not searching for like this dramatic thing, but at the same time, you want to act as if it already is. And if you would act differently if you had something, then start acting differently today instead of waiting for tomorrow. And just the main thing that I think that everyone needs to do is just look at the limiting beliefs that they have about themselves, whether it's from a financial, mental, physical, spiritual. no matter what area of your life, if you're not a good enough dad, I mean, that's something that's so simple. It's like, how can you sit there and say that you're a bad mother or father, and like you could change that instantly, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, I guess you could make that financially if you started thinking about it from that perspective. But if you would feel better doing something with your family, then do it. And, write that down as a goal. If that's something that is a goal in your life, write it down, but don't have a lack and limitation mentality about something that you can literally change instantaneously. But at the same time, you get locked into acting a certain way and doing a certain things or getting frustrated about certain things. So make it a goal that you don't get frustrated about those things, because you're deprogramming the lack and limitation thought process. So I think that gives everybody something to look at, something to think about. And, this podcast to us is talking about these things, and it seems different to me than some of the other people that are out there talking about it. And the reason why that's exciting to me is because I wasn't able to hear things until someone else said it. And I have convinced, I would say, between 10 and 15 people individually of this information, talk to, and, maybe more than that, but I'm just saying people that are in my life that I'm consistently talking to, I've seen changes in them talking about this different stuff with them. And I want to be someone that you guys can communicate with. And Matt wants to be that person as well, because we and you will feel better when you're able to share something that changes somebody's life. And when I think of helping people now, I don't ever think financial. And prior, that's all I would really think about. But it's kind of like the saying where if you teach a man to fish, then, he'll never go hungry. It's kind of the same principle as that, except it's about life. Because if you change the way that you think about yourself, then everything is going to change for you, just like it's changed for me and Matt.
Thanks for listening to Unscrewed Mind. Don't forget to rate and review this episode, and be sure to subscribe so you're notified when the next episode drops. We're also on social media, so follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Unscrewed Mind, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on all of our projects. And until next time, stay grateful.